Hi, this is Hunter. Welcome to the webinar Building Your First Dynamic Dashboard. Now today what we're going to share with you is we're going to show you how to create the dynamic dashboard from this data source. Now this data source is right here. This including the couple of dimensions, including the months and also the financial year and the chain. Actually, this scenario case is based on a houseware distributor in Australia. They got two chain of distribution, and also they got the suburb and the state and postcode and the country. Of course, the country is all Australia, and also the manager name of the the shop, also the category of the the houseware, and also the buyer, the main buyer, and also number of sales. So basically, we're gonna create the dashboard based on all this data, and the dashboard when you finish, it's gonna be look like this. All right, let's have a look at the dashboard we're gonna make. This is the final result of dashboard. You got a couple of slicer with you that you can choose from different financial year, and also you can choose from all of the states of Australia, and also you can choose from the category of the houseware. So also you can using the Shift K or Control K, you can highlight a couple of categories at the same time. Now this is a good thing about slicer, and now we have a look at the structure of this model. What we're gonna do actually is we build this dashboard actually by individual chart, and the first chart we're gonna have is as a pie chart. Now we're gonna basically using this information from pie chart, and then we do separate column chart. The column chart is for this one, and also we're gonna show you how to do the sales by category, and also we're gonna do the sales by manager. So we're gonna do this one by one, and Sparkline side is a little bit tricky, and also we're gonna do the tree map. The tree map is gonna be at the left-hand side bottom. Now, basically, what we did is we do this kind of chart individually, and then we combine everything in one single worksheet. So that's what we call dashboard. All right. Now let's get started. Okay, let's get it started. Let's get started from the scratch. Now, the first category we're gonna make is the pie chart. Okay. Now we have looked at the original dashboard. From this report, basically creating a pie chart is not very difficult. But the thing is, you're gonna think about which dimension actually filters driving the pie chart. So in this report, when we click financial year, when we click state, when we click category, now the pie chart always interactive reflect the changing on the filter slicer. So in order to make this pie chart, because this pie chart made by the chain dimension, and we're gonna make sure we also get involved in the financial year, state, and also category. Okay, back to our source data. We're gonna get involved in this one, and also we get involved in the financial year, and also we get involved in the category, and also we get involved in the state. Okay, so we need to think about not only the chain by itself. So let's do a pivot table first. Let's insert, we do a pivot table. We're gonna create a new worksheet. Okay, we'll create a new worksheet. Now, because we're gonna do the chain distribution, so we move into the row, and also we're gonna do sales. This is very simple. Okay, now because this figure haven't been formatted, well, let's give it a format, and we go to the value setting, and we go to number format, Now we're gonna make this figure actually to a 1000 separator. We're running to. I still think the figure is quite high, you know. Now another way we can do that is that we doing the custom write. Because this figure is so big, what we can do, maybe you can run it to 1000, okay? Now let's run it to 1000, give it a try. It's very simple. When you want to run it to 1000, you just give this format a little bit change. You put a key there, and then you click OK, and then everything run into 1000. Looking perfect, okay? Another thing we're gonna do is let's insert a chart, okay? Now, because this is already a pivot table, so in order to, you're gonna make a chart as you active this pivot table, and there is a called pivot chart, okay? You just click pivot chart, and we're gonna choose a pie chart, okay? Now they're gonna give you a pie chart, but basically I don't want I think the pie chart is looking, ugly, because the reason is they're using two very, bright, bright color. So when you do a professional dashboard, normally we want to do some really like a black and a dark blue kind of thing. So if you don't like the color of chart, let's go to the design. You can always change the color here. I like the gray and the dark black one, dark one. So we're gonna choose this one, but have a look at they got some data label actually to pinpoint the charts, specific information and the percentage kind of thing. And this is pretty cool. Now, what I want to move all other, kind of things. I don't really like them. Now, how should we do that? You just right click and you choose hide X field button on chart. The first thing, you can hide the button, all right? But if you don't really need the legend, what you can do, you write again, you right click again. Oh, sorry. You can simply delete that one. I'll delete this later. Now I'm gonna remove this one as well. Hide value button. Now this gonna make the chart a little bigger. I want to make sure the legend actually show on the pie. Now what I'm gonna do is there's in 2016 you can click the data label here, and you give it a little bit more choice. You give it more option, and then all the control format, the format are gonna be here. So we're gonna we need a value. Also, we need a category name. Maybe you need the percentage as well. And let's make it a little bit bigger, because the construction actually here is, we can make it a little bit wide, see how things go. And we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. I think that's pretty much I want. So I don't need the legend anymore. I give it delete. And maybe you need a name or category. Let's what we call this is sales by chain, okay? So you can give it name sales by chain. Okay, so that means this household product have two main distribution. One is a clearance line, one is the household goods. Okay, this is the main distributor for this product. Okay, that's not finished. I mean, this part is quite easy. Okay, you spend some time, you get the results straight away. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we insert the filter. Okay, the filter gonna be here the financial year, the state, and also the category. We're gonna make sure the filter actually control this pie chart as well. When you look back to the, let's give it a name, pie. Okay. Now, I want the financial year. I want the state. Also, I want the category. All be part of the filter of the sales of the category, of the distribution chain. So I'm gonna involve another 3 dimension. Now, before you're going to do that, you're gonna give your existing data analysis. So how many dimensions we're gonna have in this database? This is tabular format. We got the month dimension. We got the financial year 2. So 3 is the distribution chain. 4 we got suburb. 5 state postcode. 6 7 country. 8 manager. 9 category. 10 buyer. So you got a 10 dimension plus 1 value, which is sales. Okay, but in this report, how many dimensions we're gonna use? We're gonna use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember, there's a chain dimension. So we need another 3 to be a filter. So what we're gonna do, we highlight this pivot table, we go to analyze, and then we're gonna insert the slicer here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we need financial year, and also we need the state. Where's the state? Okay, and also we need the category. So we want additional 3 slicer to make sure the pie chart is interactive, move with the click of button. So let's keep, so we got this 3 slicer here, but that's not enough. Let's have a look. If they're gonna work straight away. Oh, that's pretty cool. So that's mean I tell Excel, and because this is working. Okay. Now, also we can right click. We can click multiple select financial data because we're gonna go 1 pivot table. So that's gonna be fine. But we're gonna keep these 3 slicer here. Because this is the most tricky thing for this dashboard. You're gonna make sure the slicer is not working for just 1 pie chart. Now we're gonna do another chart. Okay, we've been successful doing interactive pie chart. Now we're gonna do a column chart. Now in order to do a column chart, you don't necessarily actually create another pivot table. We just need to insert 1 more worksheet, and we call column. And we're gonna copy this pivot table, Control C, and into this column chart. Drag a little bit further down. And we also need to, find the layout of the column chart. So we're gonna drag, actually copy this layout of, workshop, the screenshot of the, column chart. So click this. I try to make this one match to our active one. So we're gonna remove the chain, but we need the chain up here in the column. Also, we need to put the date into the row. Okay, now if you click, in Excel, when it's showing up a date, they're gonna automatically change the date into year or month or like quarter. If you don't like this hierarchy, you just ungroup, and they're gonna back to the original date. So what you can do is, again, you're gonna group, and you can choose the month and also the year, and then click OK. They're gonna show up that one. But as you can see, because in the pie chart is a very summary level data, so the figure value of the sales here is a little bit run into the thousand now because we back to a very detailed one. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna right click, reformat, value setting, and number format. We're gonna give to a number and something like that. Okay, now they're gonna back to normal. So in this chart, but as you can see from the original database, they're gonna show the figure like the tabular format. They got the year repaid, also the month. Now we're gonna give this format a little bit change. So when you want to change the format, you go to design, you go to report layout. I want to show a tabular form, and also you can choose a repeat all item label. So then you got the tabular form you got. So, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the grid line, and we go to the analyzing, because a lot of friends, when you're not trying to familiar with this, so you click pivot table, they're gonna show the pivot table tool. So we're gonna make a pivot chart. Now this time we're gonna go column chart. Okay, column chart. Click OK. Now still we have a problem about this column chart because I don't really want the button. The button only they got actually the hierarchy button. So let's remove this kind of disturb first. So we're gonna remove all field button, remove field button on chart, remove all field button on chart. Okay, this all field button is gone. For this one, actually, the legend, I want to keep the legend in the original data, as you can see. Now what we're gonna do is you press Control 1, and then you put on the top. Okay. Now every time in the chart you remember, you always can press Control 1. Okay, and then because I want to change the color to some really business style color, so I'm gonna make it consistent. So this chart is gonna be like that. I want the column a little bit wider, so I'm gonna Control 1, and then put the gap wise a little bit much better. All right, it seems like I'm missing one title of the chart. So here in the plus, you can add a chart title. Now, what we're gonna call this is sales by. Why not? We just copy here. Sales by distribution chain. Okay. So here, we delete it. We're gonna call it sales by distribution chain. Okay. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller because otherwise it's too big. Now this is the name of the chart. They're looking perfect now. But still not yet finished. You're gonna activate the slicer. You look at our dashboard. When you click financial year, the chart is not changing. But when you click the state, actually the chart is changing. When you click the category, the chart is changing. So what I mean here, the slicer here, financial year, doesn't link to the column chart. Only the state and the category at this stage link to the column chart. So how are we gonna deal with this? It's quite simple, because as long as you already have the slicer ready, click the report connection. Now, because now how many pivot table you got? The first pivot table is pivot 3, and also when you go to pi, the pivot table 1. Okay, so it seems like we're gonna give a pivot table name. So that's why the pivot table 1 actually is quite confusing, because you have a multiple pivot table. You're gonna give a name for pi, and then I go to the second pivot table. I'm gonna give a name a column. Okay, COL. Now make it much simple. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this slicer, because you don't necessarily create another slicer. You just make sure you copy here, and you right click, you go to the report connection. I don't want the slicer connect to the column 1, because you know what? The reason is I want to list the trend of the column. That making sense? I want to list the trend of the column. So if I give it a choice, I won't see the long trend enough. So the category 2, when I click the report connection, that should be all right, because I want this one interactive with the the column chart as well. And the state, I go to the report connection. I want the state interactive with this chart as well. All right. Now, because one question is that some people may ask me, because you now have 6 slicer, are they the same one? When you go to the number 1 financial year slicer, you click the slicer setting, and they're gonna tell you, because I click all of them. Now you're gonna tell you this slicer name is financial year. Now you go to the column, you also have a slicer here, and you give a name. This is financial year 1. So as long as you copy one more slicer, they're gonna give one more name. That doesn't mean they are different slicer. Because they are same slicer, they always actually link to the financial year column. So as long as this one is not changing, and it doesn't matter the name on the top. Okay, so we're successful in doing the second one, the interactive column chart. Okay, let's do another bar chart. So what we're gonna do, we just copy the figure of pivot table to the bar chart, so we don't necessarily create another pivot table, and we can change the name to the bar chart. BAR, and we're gonna move the chain to the column. We're gonna move the category into the row. Okay, looking perfect. And make sure we also need to copy the 3 slicer into this chart, because we want to, all of the slicer interactive with the, with the bar chart. Okay, so copy here. Now, because this 3-1, actually, when you click any of them, this is changing, which is good. But we don't want them to connect to the category, because they already been, slicing already. So been listed already. So we just need to right click and go to the connection. We need to unconnect the bar chart. Okay. And then when you click this button, they won't affect this table. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna active the pivot table, and we will add a bar chart. Now there's a couple of ways we can change the bar chart. So you can use this one, comparison one, or stack bar chart. Now we're gonna choose the second one. Okay, click OK. But this chart actually looking really ugly. So because one reason is the number of the length of the column haven't been ranked. So we need to go to here, and we click the sort, A to that. Now A to that, we probably gonna right click sort, small to the largest, and the more option. The more option is small to the largest. Now this one's still looking ugly, but let's try the grand total. Small to the largest. That's looking much better. Okay, but the chart actually is very, misleading, because I don't really like the color first. We're gonna change the color to the right format, because we want everything consistent. And you can click Control 1, and we're gonna make the gap very narrow, so the bar a little bit wide. We will remove all of the button, and probably we're gonna keep the legend on the top. Control 1, you can put on the top. Maybe we're gonna add another chart title. Now what the title name? Let me go back to our sales by category. Okay, we're gonna change to sales by category. Sales by category. Okay, looks much better. And also, I want to concentrate on the data ink ratio because I won't remove all of the grill, and I want to put the all of this number on the chart instead of have X-ray. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna delete this one and drag a little bit further. I'm gonna add a data label. Okay. Now the data label gonna be more option of data label because label option. So what I want is maybe inside in, and some of them at the bottom I might manually drag it out because otherwise because it's very small little amount of area. And I also add a data model to the gray area, dark gray. So data label, and I'm gonna kick the label inside the base. Okay, looking much better. Still a little bit line at the X-ray, so disturbing. So I just changed the format of the line into no line. Look, this is looking more professional. And when I click the state, they've been interactive with the state and also the financial year. And when you click the category, it won't affect the category. Perfect. Okay, let's do another bar chart. Is bar chart by manager. Now, what we're gonna do here this time is we just click the worksheet bar and hold Control key, and then you drag, and the system Excel gonna automatically create another worksheet. But when they create another worksheet, it seems like the chart is gone. Doesn't matter. So we're gonna say bar by manager. Okay, the pivot table side, the change staying where they are. We don't need a category at the moment, but we definitely need the manager and also state. Okay, manager and state, and have a look at the everything being selected, and we probably need to put the state in front of manager. It's fine. Now, the reason I got only one choice here is maybe from the filter, okay? Because the moment the filter only select one, so we will still copy this filter, the slicer into the bar by manager. If we click everything, you can see all of the state is showing up. So for the pivot table, I'm not quite strongly recommend you put two dimensions into one row as long as they are kind of hierarchy relationship instead of dimension. The reason for this pivot table is working because manager actually is non-duplicate in each state, so it can work like a hierarchy. So I think this one is fine, but most of the case, if they duplicate each other in different area, different state, like same manager show up in different state, they're gonna make misleading. So most of the time, it's not okay, but this time it's okay because it's work like hierarchy. All right, now, so what we're gonna do, the slicer, I think at this stage is all right because I got a two-dimension state manager, and also I got the you know, mm, the chain, okay, the clearance and house code chain. Oh, probably I'm gonna disconnect the state. So I'm gonna right click because I want to list all the state. I don't want to make state's choice, okay? So then they're gonna make the child confused. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna right click the state, we choose the report connection, we're gonna remove the, you know, bar by manager, okay? Now you go to the pivot table, they still call bar. Oh, that's confusing, huh? Now we're gonna give another name, okay? We, we're gonna call bar by manager. Okay, we call bar by manager, and then when you click this state, it won't affect the table. All right, now on top of this pivot table, we're gonna add another pivot chart. Now this time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do another bar chart. Now this bar chart gonna be show like this. Okay, that's it. Okay, but when you first making this chart is it's gonna look very ugly. So we're gonna change a little bit to make it, you know, much better looking. So have a look at the back now. What they did is they remove everything. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we remove all of the field, but probably if you want to keep the, you know, the plus and minus, there's this kind of hierarchy control. So we're gonna do legend field, hide legend field on the button. If you want to keep this button, you can't remove all the button. You're gonna do one by one. All right. If you move everything, and they're not gonna show up. And I don't want the legend. I don't need the legend at this stage. I can delete the legend, and I'm gonna change the chart color to something consistent to my original data, and I'm gonna change the gap a little bit wide, and also what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the grill as well, because sometimes you're using the grill and it's distracting people's attention on the figure. So we try to improve the you know, the data link. So maybe we're gonna add a chart title. I need a chart title. Now the name is gonna be sales by manager. And also what we need to do, we're gonna do some maybe a little bit wider. We're gonna do some data label, okay? A lot of label are gonna be outside. I think that should be fine. And then this one data label gonna be outside as well. So instead of using X3, I'm using data label, so I can more focus my attention on the you know, information instead of maybe the figure gonna be a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. Okay, looking perfect. Before we move for the next one, we still want to double check the you know, the slicer. The slicer is working. Sometimes it's working. Category is working. Oh, seems like a category is not working, huh? So the state is working. A state, we intentionally disconnect the state, but the category seems like not working. So what we're gonna do is we will connect the bar by manager. Now it's working now. Okay, perfect. One more thing is because hierarchy minus and plus, you can remove the detail and focus on the, the state. Now this button here, I leave it active. All right, let's do the Sparkline mini chart. So we insert a new worksheet, and we're gonna say Sparkline. So we will copy this, Control C, copy here, and now we're gonna change this a little bit because when you have a look at regional figure, we got the year months at the column, we got the state at the row, and the chain at the future. So we move the chain to the future. Now we leave the state, and we're gonna pull the the date on the top. Okay, and it's looking all right. We have a difference with why they not listing the 2014. It's fine. So we're gonna ungroup. Still the problem, the future. Okay, so remember we need to copy again the three big slicer. We're gonna copy the slicer to the Sparkline, and then because the financial year. Okay, we're gonna kick everything. So we have to group this into months and a year. Okay. Now maybe we need to remove the total, the subtotal. So we go to the pivot table, we go to the design, the grand total, the subtotal, do not show subtotal. Okay, now 15. Now then I'm gonna have a very stable trend on that. But because this one actually, when you connect this three filter, so I don't want this state connect to this new pivot table. So this pivot table, I'm gonna give it a name called Sparkline. So I don't want the category. Category should be alright. I don't want the state connect to the pivot table. So I'm gonna disconnect the Skyline. Oh, I think it's fine. Alright, this has already been disconnected. I will connect the financial year as well. For connection. And then where's the financial year? And Sparkline, I will do next financial year as well. So then when I change, they will be still there. Okay, but as you can see from our final result, the Sparkline gonna be like all chain trend, clearance line, household line. So this is basically the state. So what we're gonna do here is we probably need to create 3 tables instead of 1. So we're gonna duplicate this one and Control C. We're gonna another one, but in this one we will make sure we only show 1 clearance line, and then we'll Control C again. We will do another one, and in this one we're gonna show the household good. Okay, so we're gonna have this 3, and it's alright, the format gonna be insolvent, that's fine. And another thing is because I want to make, because sometimes you change, you can see the pivot table is changing all the time. So when I create chart, I don't want this pivot table changing too much. So I'm gonna give a little bit format here. You go to option, you go to the display, where's the total filter? Is layout format. So you have to untick the auto fit column with them. All right, you click one. And second, you have to untick and make sure you untick all of them. So even though you change, you won't have a problem, but they keep changing. Now they became stable. So on top of that, what we're gonna do, we will make a spark line. Now another thing issue we're gonna show up here is, okay, before we really do the spark line, we're gonna make sure the format of this three pivot table exactly the same. But I don't know you realize or not, the second table have a less row than the first one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure the second one, how many rows they got? They got 8. This one only have hell, this one only have 6 rows, and third one have how many rows? We got 8 rows. But the second table have less row. So now what does this mean is because they got some empty row, and Excel pivot table automatically hide it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna unhide this row with the empty value. So we're gonna click on the field, we choose the field setting, and we go to the layout print. Now you can see here, show item with no data, and you click OK, and they're gonna give you 2 empty lines. Now the reason we're doing that is because we want the 3 table format consistent when we create the spark line. So it's gonna create the the line actually without mismatch. So we copy this into the blank cell, and then the first thing we're gonna add a total. Okay, we're gonna add a total. Now it's time for us to insert line spark line. Okay, so we go to the first one, and then we'll click OK. That you don't necessarily do other ones. Okay, as long as you did one, and the other one is automatically being done. Now the second one we're gonna do is clearance line. Basically, this is all this. The second one is clearance line. We're gonna do a clearance line, and third one is household good. See. Now we're gonna do the second one. Second one, we might need to insert another different kind of thing. So we're gonna do a column 1 this time. So we do the second one. Okay. Cool. And then we just copy this down. Excel gonna automatic because they go 2 empty one, and South Australia and Tasmania is empty. Okay. Then we're going to do the third one. We're going to do another line chart, a mini line chart of what I mean is. So January to June. Okay, then you copy this down. All right, so I'll give a little bit format of this too. Maybe I'll add on the line underneath it. Oh, not this one. I'm gonna add another, on the next line is up here. So I'm gonna change the view to the grill, on grill. Okay, now we got a very, lovely spark line. And let me double check if the slice is working, because I don't want this working because it's being fixed, no problem. Financial year, I don't want financial year working because the trend financial years, I want this stable. The only thing working is actually the category. Beautiful. It's like everything's fine. Okay, let's do the last one, the tree map. Okay, we're gonna insert one more worksheet called tree map. And also this time we just copy this pivot table from the pie chart because we're gonna make it simple. And when you active the pie chart, so we have a look at the trade map format. So you got the financial year, the future, and the category in the row. Okay, so we don't have the chain. We need the financial year, the future, and then category in the row. This looks a little bit funny, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna copy the slicer to make sure the tree map showing the right information. So because up here we got a category, all right. So you need to click though, then you can see the whole category here. But basically, since we're gonna show the category at the part of tree map, we don't want the category being connected to this pivot table, so we have to use the report connection, and this pivot table going to be pivot table 10, so we're going to untick the tree map 1. So no matter how much which button I choose, they can be not affect to the pivot table. Maybe I'm going to give the name for the tree map. It's always a good practice you give a name for your table, pivot table, even a range of data. So when you do all of the connection, you understand the relationship between and start way making sense to you straight away. So instead of pivot table 1 to 10, you get a physical name. It's quite handy. So we're gonna copy this pivot table, and because we're gonna make two, tree map. Now this one, I'm gonna have a look at regional data. We're gonna got here the state instead of a category, and we take over the category. We move the state up here, and the same thing problem happened. The future can affect this one, so we're gonna highlight everything. We're gonna go to the report connection. We have to disconnect. Okay, we have to disconnect the tree map. Okay. Oh, this is not tree map anyway. No, we're gonna pay this pivot table. This is can be tree map 2 actually. So when we go to here, we're gonna make sure slice the setting. So we're gonna make sure not slice the setting. We have to choose the report connection, and they're gonna be tree map 2. Okay. Tree map 1 might be alright. Tree map 9 is alright. So tree map 2, we're gonna choose all, and we want to show everything. So then when you choose this one actually is supposed to connect to the tree map 2. So we have to right click, multiple connection. We have to trigger this one. So when you click, this one gonna still affect the tree map 2. Okay, now then we're gonna change this to tree map. So you go to pivot chart, you choose there's gonna be a tree map there, but you can see you cannot create the tree map type inside the pivot table. Please take different chart type. So some like Excel won't allow me to create a tree map in the pivot chart. So what should I do? Alternatively, what we're gonna do is we will use equal sign, and we try to duplicate all of the information here. But when you use equal sign, most of the time you're gonna get a pivot table formula. But this time, what happened is because in the pivot table, in the option side, I take the get pivot data. If I untick, okay, if you press equal sign, you're gonna have before. If you tick the pivot table, in the option, you get pivot table data. Okay, it's been ticked. It's equal. Why they didn't give me the get pivot data? Okay, now the get pivot data is here. This is confusing, okay? But the thing is, if you go to the pivot table and you untick that get pivot data, you're gonna put the same formula there. They won't give you the get pivot data. Okay, so I can copy this down and copy this down. Okay, I don't need the other two line. And the same thing, I'm gonna choose this and I'm gonna copy these two down. Keep moving. Okay, I don't need the grand total actually. I don't need the grand total. But in the pivot table, you can remove the grand total. In the design, grand total of row and column. The design, grand total of row and column. Okay, so we're gonna insert a, tree map through normal kind of tree map instead of pivot chart. So go to the tree map, you go to the tree map, but we don't necessarily need the legend. We just delete this. And the chart title gonna be sales by category. Sales by category, and we're probably gonna add another one, and we're gonna insert another one. We call the tree map, and you can take away the legend because you don't necessarily use that one, and the name is gonna be sales by state. Okay, sales by state, but the color, I have to change some consistent color. So instead of using the very colorful one, you can choose some really gray or the dark blue kind of thing. So now it seems like we did every individual chart. Now it's time for the combination. All right, let's do the final combination of the chart into the dashboard. So let's have a look at the final result. So we got a 3 slicer actually on the left hand side. The first thing we're gonna do is the slicer, okay? So we're gonna do, we copy this 3 slicer and Control C, we copy to the dashboard. And the financial year on the top, state, and then category. So financial year on the top, not necessarily that big, and the state, yeah, no, and then the category. Okay, maybe a little bit longer, wider, a little bit wider. All right, and then, okay, first thing we're gonna do the pie chart. So we just copy the pie chart to the dashboard, and we make it a little bit smaller, not too smaller, okay. But probably we're gonna remove the, the border. So you Control 1, you choose no line outside. So then you're gonna have you're gonna get the border removed, and we can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, because when your line chart is very small, the yeah. Drag down a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. We're gonna make sure maybe the text too big, so make the text a little bit small. It looks much better. And then we're gonna control back to the original file. Now this is gonna have a column chart. So then we go to the column, Control C, and Control V. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing. Because it's always good to leave the grill at this stage, so you try to match everything together. So we will take away the line as well. Now we double check everything is fine. Okay. Everything looking perfect. Right. And then we have a look. We will include the the sales by category. Okay, sales by category. Control C, and not this one. This is the sales by category, okay? Control C, go to the dashboard. Same thing, we're gonna take away the line. Looking good. Our dashboard also, we need sales by manager. So sales by manager, Control C, go to dashboard, because this is a big one. I'm gonna move the line as well. Don't need the pivot. Okay, we're looking fine. Financial year is changing. All right, brilliant. So, and then we're gonna do sales by category, sales by state. And we'll go to the train map. We're gonna copy this too. Control C, go to the dashboard, and make it a little bit smaller. Maybe too small. Same thing, we don't want the line, we don't want the border. So the only thing I'm missing is the spark line. So how can I get, because the spark line actually is not a chart, you can basically not move this around. So alternatively, we're gonna have a little tricky here. And what we're gonna do, we go to the file, you go to the option, and we go to the quick access toolbar. We choose the command, not in the ribbon. We go to camera, and we insert the camera in the quick access toolbar, and then they're gonna show on top here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight this range. We give it a shot. Now the first thing you're gonna do, you have to highlight the range, okay, and then make the shot. You take a picture, you go to dashboard, and you click anywhere, they're gonna copy it there. They're gonna copy the, I have to make a little bit square. But they got a line as well. I don't like the line, so you can take away the line. You just like no line. Now, basically everything is consolidated together. So, and then it's time for me. Actually, I just remove all of the grill. I go to view, take the grill line, and it's pretty much there. Maybe I got more color here. Okay. Now we choose everything. You can see, as long as the chart being linked to the slicer, they're gonna automatically interactive change. All right, that's all we need to do today, and see you next time.